Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Megan, and today I'm going to be sharing my cancer diagnosis story. So I'm going to be going more in detail with how I was diagnosed with cancer. And yeah, anyways, let's get started. So the story starts back in 2019, probably midway through the year. I noticed that there was a lump on my neck. And to start with, I was like, it's just gonna go away. It'll only be here for like a couple days and it'll be gone. Anyway, a few days went by and, well, it was still there. So then I also had a cold. And yeah, I pretty much just brushed it off for months. Because I had a cold and stuff. But during those months, I also googled what it could be. So I knew it could be cancer. Plus my nonna had breast cancer twice. My godmother passed away from cancer. I had a cousin who was fighting cancer. Another family member, we'll just call him a cousin because that's the easiest way to explain it. When we were little, he passed away from cancer. So yeah, I didn't want it to be cancer. I think deep down I knew that it was cancer, but I was just, yeah, too scared. Didn't want it to be. So I ignored it. I didn't exactly try to hide it because I knew that it had to be seen by a doctor and stuff because it wasn't going away. But I didn't try to make it obvious either or tell my parents about it. But my mental health went really downhill because I was hiding, well, not exactly hiding, but I was hiding this lump that I had, and I was so scared that I had cancer. So then in November, we were at the chiropractor and he kind of noticed it and that my shoulder was being a bit weird, like all the muscles in my neck were tight and yeah. So he noticed it and then I started crying and my mum made a doctor's appointment for that day. So we went to see my doctor and she was great because lots of doctors would just brush it off because I was 16. You don't expect a 16-year-old to have cancer. But she was like, this has been here for a while because it was a few months and it's quite obvious that there's a lump there. So she sent me to get a blood test, an ultrasound, and a core biopsy. So a core biopsy is where they stick a needle in and get a sample and then test it. So I think we could get the blood test done that day or early in the week, on the week side, because that was all on the weekend. So I had my blood test done, which the results of my blood test came back normal, which is weird because the type of cancer that I had was a type of blood cancer, so usually there would be something in the bloods that looked a bit off, but mine were pretty much normal. They just showed that I was slightly anemic, which is pretty normal for a teenage girl. Then the ultrasound, it showed that there was definitely a lump there. We could literally see it, so I don't see really what the point in the ultrasound was, but there was that. And then it also showed that some of the lymph nodes on the other side of my neck looked a bit odd. So then I had the core biopsy. That was a bit of fun to book because they had to have like a certain person there to do it. But I eventually got that done and the results came back inconclusive. So my doctor then sent me to see an ENT, which is an ear, nose, throat doctor, and he performed then he performed a surgical biopsy, and the results of that surgical biopsy also came back inconclusive, but it did tell us I definitely had a type of lymphoma, so blood cancer basically. And then, so during this time I was also like going to school and stuff, and I had not told any of my friends what was going on. I was so scared. So after the surgical biopsy, we saw my doctor again, and she was going to refer us to an oncologist. So an oncologist is a cancer doctor. So we could either go with adults or children's. She said that she personally would go with children's because the environment's a bit more friendly, and I wanted to go with children's, so we decided to go with children's, which is how I ended up at Queensland Children's Hospital. But then, so I had an appointment with my oncologist, and he wanted to know the exact type of lymphoma that I had. So he sent me for another surgical biopsy, which again came back inconclusive. So he, like, all the results were leaning towards Hodgkin's lymphoma more than non-Hodgkin's, but he still wanted to be sure to give me the best possible treatment. So we decided that we were just going to go get a port placed and do another surgical biopsy. I also had a couple one PET scan in this time to help us find the best place to do these biopsies. But pretty much I had another surgical biopsy, which finally told us I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. Then at the same time, I had my port placed so I could start treatment. So in the end, after those biopsies and stuff, I was diagnosed with stage 2 AE Hodgkin's lymphoma. So the A in the diagnosis means I only had A symptoms, which means I had less symptoms than someone who had B symptoms, which is part of why it was a little bit harder to diagnose. And then the E is something to do with the lungs. I can't remember, there's a word that starts with E. But yeah, so then I started treatment, which my treatment story is going to be one of my next videos, so keep an eye out for that. But I hope this helped you understand how I was diagnosed with cancer a bit more. Maybe you learned something new. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!